Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Um, my name is Mauricio Souza Neto. I am from Brazil, and today I'm going to share with you some of the things that we have been doing in our programs. Can everybody, is the presentation showing for everyone?
Yes.
Okay, good. So, address inclusion in Brazilian technical and professional education's ideas, actions, and debates. Let me just share with you. So, who am I? Uh, I hold a master's degree from the Federal University of Bahia, and I'm a PhD candidate in the language and culture at the same university. My research is related to inclusion, diversity, and equity. Let me tell you about the agenda for this presentation. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the National Program for Education. Then we're going to talk about CONIF, that is the federal uh, group of schools. Then we're going to talk about our goals, how we promote inclusion, our major debates and challenges, and then I'll be available for some questions and conversations. So here in Brazil, we have the National Plan for Education, uh, which is a strategic 10-year plan enacted in the 2014, aimed at guiding the development of education in Brazil. Its goals are ambitious, seeking to ensure universal access to various levels of education to improve the quality across the board. Specifically related to inclusion, the National Plan for Education emphasized the need for educational systems to be accessible to all, including provisions for students with disabilities and strategies to address racial and socioeconomic disparities in educational attainment. So the National Plan for Education is not only for public institutions, but also for private institutions as well, once it is related to the Ministry of Education. Uh, but the federal institutions, they are part of the National Council of the Institutions of the Federal Network of Professional, Scientific, and Technological Education, known as CONIF, and it plays a crucial role in the Brazilian educational system. It represents the federal network of education institutions that offer professional, scientific, and technological education. Hanif is instrumental in implementing the goals of the National Plan for Education within this network by developing policies, supporting the expansion of educational offerings, and ensuring that these institutions serve as inclusive spaces that cater to a diverse student body. The efforts include enhancing physical and digital accessibility, promoting racial and socioeconomic equity, and integrating sustainability practices in education. We have 41 huge federal centers, so it's massive, which each institution does and what CONIF does. So we have our core values, which is citizenship, ethics, inclusion, innovation, integration, quality, sustainability. And about inclusion, we understand it as representation of the commitment to respect the human diversity in promoting equality and equity in order to provide opportunities and a sense of belonging to all people. Having that said, oops, having that said, we have some goals. The goals, they are multi-year plan, and we also have a strategic objective. And I'd like to focus on this latter. So is our strategic objective among the 41 institutions is to strengthen research and postgraduate studies for social, cultural, territorial, and environmental development, encompassing sustainability, inclusion, and accessibility, and enhancing the intellectual output for our institutions. And we have major three roles in promoting inclusion. First is about the policy development. So we have an inclusive policy framework with guidelines that encourage all federal institutions to create accessible learning environments and understanding inclusion as something that is cannot be taken as a kind of magic formula. We foster that each and every one of the institutions produce their own guidelines, but we also have a mainstream guidelines to help other people, especially newcomers in the government area. These includes physical accessibility, such as ramps and adapted toilets, as well as learning materials accessible to students with disabilities. We also have some training programs, which is teacher training, but it's not only about teacher training, but is about community training, so to speak. So we have these training programs or special development programs, as you name it, not only for teachers, but also for everybody related to the coordination, the families, and all the students as well. Also, we care about technological integration on that sense. We have several institutions under CONIF that pioneer the integration of adaptive technologies, such as speech-to-text software and the Braille printers, which help in tailoring educational experiences to meet the need of all students. So we understand that not everyone is prepared to work with inclusion and accessibility. So we kind of help them be able to help their students and the institutions on how to get the best of their training programs. But why do we do all that? Because we need to move from equality policies to equity policies. We understand equality as being generic, group focused, and equal. It helps, but sometimes some people are left behind or left aside. So that's why we should focus on equity, which is adaptable, individual focused, and fair. And that is why we cannot have a major guidelines for everyone. Um, that everyone should follow, but as a major guideline that everyone should pick and choose whichever is best for them. And we believe in the importance of equity in the classroom and the community. So in the classroom, we understand that it promotes inclusivity, encourages class engagement and participation, provides a safe space. Students feel supported and respected by peers, higher quality programs and materials, and it also cultivates self-advocacy and self-confidence. But that is in the classroom. But when we move to the community, we have stronger social connections. We understand that it fosters empathy and compassion for all for others, improves quality of life for all, provides resources needed to thrive, support social and economic sustainability, and also it helps reducing conflict. But it's not all roses. We also have some debates and challenges for inclusion. On that sense, we would have, for instance, standardized curriculum versus adaptive teaching. We understand that what is best for our curriculum is not to have a standardized versus adaptive teaching, but to have one curriculum that could encompass it all. But it's still a huge debate because we have some institutions that don't agree with that, especially private institutions. So we also needed to work a little more, especially on government level, so that we could have curriculum that are more inclusive every now and then. So there's an ongoing debate within CONIF about how to maintain a high standard of education while adapting teaching methods to accommodate students' various needs. So we needed to discuss curriculum flexibility and the extent to which teaching methods can be personalized without compromising educational outcomes. Also about technology integration. We use technology a lot. We are a technological institution as well, but that means that we need money to do that. So we need a sponsorship to do that. So there's a discussion about the digital divide and ensuring that technological solutions do not exclude those from lower socioeconomic backgrounds. Brazil is a huge country. Um, so sometimes what it works best for Bahia, that's my state, does not necessarily work best for Minas Gerais or São Paulo or any other states. So we needed to work with technology, but not make it exclude. Also, and it is our huge and biggest challenge, is resource allocation. So a significant challenge is the allocation of resources. With limited budget, institutions must decide how best to distribute funds across need, such as infrastructure improvement, staff training, student services, which can lead to tough decisions and prioritization of debate. So sometimes we know what's best, but then we have to do what's possible. It is not an easy decision. And although CONIF in general has some specific guidelines, we cannot ensure that all 41 institutions can do the same thing because each institution gets a different budget um, to manage, and in this management, we also need to include many other things, not only related to inclusion. So that's our huge challenge. And we are just closing by, we are necessarily, I'm very happy to be here and learning a little bit with you because the sharing of good practice may help us understand what we are doing, think that we are on the right track, and these international alliances are very important to us, especially on learning how to do the same thing in a different way or how to do different things in order to have students included and make them feel better in our program. But not only students, but also teachers, but also all stuff related to education. So that's it. Thank you very much for having me here with you, and I'm open to talk and to have some questions if you have some.